All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle what is, without a doubt, the single most important sentence in any persuasive paper, the thesis statement. Think of it as the engine of your entire argument. And, we're going to show you exactly how to build a really powerful one. So let's start with a feeling I'm sure you know all too well. You've done all the research, right? You've got pages of notes, tons of great ideas, but when you actually start writing, the paper just kind of wanders all over the place. It doesn't seem to have a clear destination. And honestly, you're not even sure what point you're trying to make anymore. Sound familiar?
Well, what if I told you the problem isn't your ideas at all? It's that you're missing a blueprint. I mean, what if just one sentence could act like a GPS for your entire essay, guiding not just your reader, but you from that very first paragraph all the way to the end?
Well, that is the thesis statement. It's your main argument, your big claim. It's basically a promise you make to your reader about what you're going to prove. And yeah, it is the absolute best solution for a paper that feels lost.
So, what makes the thesis strong? Let's talk about the 5 essential ingredients for a powerful argument. You see, what really separates a weak thesis from a strong one, it's not just some random statement. It's a super carefully constructed argument, and it has some key ingredients. So let's break down the anatomy of a thesis that really works.
Okay, so these 5 things, they are absolutely non-negotiable. First, it has to be debatable. I mean, reasonable people have to be able to disagree with it. It's also got to be assertive, take a clear stand. Of course, it has to be reasonable. It can't be some wild, illogical claim. And, crucially, you have to be able to back it up with evidence. And finally, it has to be focused, super narrow. You put all those together and you transform a boring old statement into a really compelling argument.
And this really hits the nail on the head. The point is, an argument takes a stand. It's not a description or a summary. So here's the bottom line. Your thesis has to take a position. Saying something like, pollution is bad for the environment, that's not a thesis. That's a fact, right? No one's going to argue with that. Your job is to make a claim that somebody could actually push back on.
All right, next up, from vague to valuable, how we transform weak statements into strong arguments. Let's really see how this works in the real world. We're going to look at a few kind of weak statements and see how we can level them up into strong, valuable thesis statements.
Okay, take a look at this first one. The weak version says, drug use is detrimental to society. I mean, that is just way too broad. What kind of drugs are we talking about? What does detrimental even mean? And which society? It's just vague. Now, look at the strong version. Illegal drug use is detrimental because it encourages gang violence. See, it narrows the topic down to illegal drug use and gets super specific about the harm, gang violence. Now that is focused, it's manageable, and it's so much more powerful.
Okay, here's another fantastic example that shows the jump from a boring fact to a real argument. The weak one? Junk food is bad for your health. Well, duh, right? Everybody agrees with that. But the strong version? Because junk food is bad for your health, the size of sodas offered at fast food restaurants should be regulated by the federal government. Whoa, now that's an argument. Should the government step in and regulate soda sizes? See? That's a debatable position you can build an entire paper around.
A really strong thesis often justifies why we should even be talking about this. It shows how your perspective adds something new to the conversation, or maybe even contradicts a common belief. So the weak statement here, my family is an extended family, is, well, it's just an observation. Okay, so what? But the strong version, oh, this is good. While most American families would view consanguineal marriage as a threat to the nuclear family structure, many Iranian families, like my own, believe that these marriages help reinforce kinship ties. See that? It immediately creates some tension, some interest. It tells the reader exactly why this personal story matters in a much bigger conversation.
Okay. Section 4, Avoiding Common Thesis Traps, and How to Revise and Refine Your Argument. Look, nobody gets this right on the first try. Crafting a great thesis is all about revision. So let's look at a really common trap that a lot of writers fall into, and I'll give you a clear, simple process for revising your way out of it.
Okay, the number one thing to remember is this. Your first try does not have to be perfect. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. You should think of it as a working thesis. It's just a starting point, right? It's something you expect to change and improve as you get deeper into your research and your ideas start to really take shape.
And here's a really powerful 4-step process to help you with that refinement. First, get rid of vague words like people or society and swap them out with precise terms. Second, replace weak, boring linking verbs like is or are with strong dynamic action verbs. Third, and this is a big one, constantly ask yourself how and why.
This is how you deepen your analysis. And finally, just get rid of any of those huge general claims that you can't realistically support with evidence.
Now, this table is super helpful because it gives you a framework for thinking about what you're actually trying to do. Like, are you making a claim of fact or definition? Or is it about cause and effect? Maybe you're making a value judgment, arguing something is good or bad. Or are you proposing a solution or a new policy? Just knowing the type of claim you're making can be one of the fastest ways to bring your argument into sharp focus and really clarify your entire paper.
All right, last section, why your thesis matters. And spoiler alert, it's about more than just a grade. I mean, after all of this, you might be wondering, why have we spent all this time focused on just 1 or 2 sentences? Why does this one little thing matter so much?
Well, it's because mastering the thesis statement isn't just some academic hoop you have to jump through to get a good grade. It's about learning how to think clearly, how to organize your thoughts, and how to make a confident, persuasive case in any context. Whether you're writing a paper, giving a presentation, or even arguing your point in a boardroom.
Because at the end of the day, a strong thesis is your answer to the single most important question any reader is ever going to have, and that is, so what? It explains why your topic is important. It gives your audience a really compelling reason to care about what you have to say.
Look, a strong thesis gives your words a purpose. It gives them a direction. It gives them the power to persuade. It's what transforms you from someone who's just, listing information into someone who is actually making a compelling argument. So the only question left is, what argument will you make?